Have you ever heard of a group of countries so powerful they could reshape the global economy? It sounds like something out of a movie, but it's real. And it's called Brics. That's BRICS. It stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But recently, this exclusive club just got a whole lot bigger. In 2024, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates officially joined the party. Now, this expanded group is often called BRICS Plus. Think of it as the Avengers of emerging economies, uniting to create a new kind of global power. So why should you care? Well, let's talk numbers, because they are absolutely staggering. The original 5 BRICS countries already represented over 40% of the world's population. With the new members, that number is even higher. We're talking about nearly half of all people on Earth living in a BRICS Plus nation. That's a massive pool of talent, consumers, and innovators. But here's the statistic that's really turning heads. A common claim is that BRICS now accounts for over 50% of the world's GDP. Now, we need to be careful here. This figure is based on something called purchasing power parity, or PPP. What's that? Simply put, PPP compares what a country's currency can actually buy at home, rather than just its exchange rate with the US dollar. So, if a coffee costs $1 in the US but the equivalent of 50 cents in India, PPP accounts for that difference in buying power. When you measure the global economy using PPP, the BRICS Plus nations indeed control a majority share of the world's economic output. According to some estimates, the expanded BRICS bloc now represents roughly 36% of the global GDP in nominal terms, but over 50% in PPP terms. This is a monumental shift. For decades, the global economy was dominated by Western powers like the G7 nations: the US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. But the rise of BRICS Plus shows that the economic center of gravity is moving. Let's break down what each of these countries brings to the table. China, often called the world's factory, is an undisputed manufacturing and tech giant. Its economy is so massive that it alone accounts for a huge chunk of the BRICS total. India is a powerhouse of services and technology with a young, dynamic population and the fastest-growing major economy in the world. Russia is a colossal supplier of energy and natural resources, from oil and gas to essential minerals. Brazil is an agricultural superpower, feeding millions around the world, and it also has significant industrial and natural resource sectors. South Africa acts as a crucial gateway to the African continent, rich in minerals and with a sophisticated financial system. Now let's look at the newcomers. The United Arab Emirates and Iran bring immense oil and gas wealth to the group, further cementing BRICS Plus's role as an energy titan. Egypt, with its strategic location controlling the Suez Canal, is a major trade hub connecting continents. And Ethiopia, one of Africa's fastest-growing economies, brings a huge population and agricultural potential. Together, these nations control a significant portion of the world's most critical resources. They are major producers of oil, gas, coal, and key minerals needed for everything from smartphones to electric cars. So what's the big idea behind this alliance? One of the core goals of BRICS is to create a more multipolar world. This means they want a global system where power isn't concentrated in just 1 or 2 blocks, but is shared more equitably among many different centers of influence. They believe the current global financial system, which is heavily reliant on the US dollar and institutions like the World Bank and the IMF, is tilted in favor of Western interests. To counter this, BRICS created their own bank, the New Development Bank, or NDB. Headquartered in Shanghai, the NDB funds infrastructure and sustainable development projects in member countries and other emerging economies. Unlike traditional institutions, the NDB aims to offer loans in local currencies. Why is this a big deal? Because it helps countries avoid the risks of fluctuating exchange rates against the US dollar. If a country borrows in dollars but its own currency weakens, its debt suddenly becomes much more expensive to repay. By lending in local currencies, the NDB offers a more stable and predictable path to development. This leads us to the hottest topic surrounding BRICS: de-dollarization. This is the idea of reducing the world's dependence on the US dollar for international trade. Right now, the dollar is the king of global finance. Most international trade, especially for commodities like oil, is priced and settled in dollars. This gives the United States incredible economic leverage. The BRICS nations are exploring ways to trade with each other using their own currencies. For example, India and the UAE have already started settling some trade in rupees and dirhams. China and Russia have been doing the same with the yuan and the ruble. The ultimate, though still distant, goal for some members is the creation of a common Brics currency. Imagine a world where a significant portion of global trade is conducted in a currency backed by this massive economic bloc. It would fundamentally change the dynamics of international finance. While creating a single currency is incredibly complex and faces many hurdles, just think of the different economic policies in China versus Brazil. The very discussion shows the ambition of the group. The expansion of Brics is also a major geopolitical statement. It shows that many countries in the global south, a term for developing nations in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, are looking for alternatives to the traditional Western-led order. They see Brics Plus as a platform where their voices can be heard and their interests better represented. Dozens more countries have expressed interest in joining, from Saudi Arabia to Indonesia to Nigeria. This growing appeal suggests that the Brics Plus vision of a multipolar world resonates with many. However, it's not all smooth sailing. The Brics Plus group is incredibly diverse, and that brings challenges. Politically, you have democracies like India, Brazil, and South Africa, alongside more authoritarian systems in China and Russia. Economically, their structures are very different. China's economy is many times larger than all the other members combined, creating a potential power imbalance within the group. Furthermore, some members have historical tensions with each other, like the border disputes between India and China. Forging a unified path forward requires navigating these complex internal dynamics. Despite these challenges, the momentum is undeniable. The combined economic weight, control over resources, and shared desire for a more balanced global system make Brics Plus a force that can no longer be ignored. They are not just an economic bloc. They are a symbol of a changing world order. The rise of these nations represents a shift from a 20th century world dominated by a few powers to a 21st century world that is more diverse, more complex, and more multipolar. What does this mean for you, for the global economy, and for the future? It means more competition, but also more opportunities. It could lead to new trade routes, new investment flows, and new technological innovations emerging from different corners of the globe. The journey of Brics Plus is just beginning, and it's one of the most important stories of our time. Watching how these powerful nations collaborate and compete will be key to understanding the next chapter of our global history. Thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on the rise of Brics Plus? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the forces shaping our world. See you next time.